Hey, what's up guys, back again with another video in the Spigot series. This time we're going to continue our two-part series from last episode where we started making the StaffHomes plugin. So yeah, let's get back to it. So what I want to do now is make it so that if the user tries to set a temporary home, first we want to check and see if they already have a home set, because of course right here we're trying to create a section and then we're setting some data for that section. But what if they already have a section? What if they already have data in the config file? So we need to set we just need to handle that. We need to make something happen if that ever happens. Okay, so that we can do that really easily. All we got to do is basically do what we did down here and check and see if the data already exists in the config file. So we could do plugin.getConfig.isConfiguration section, and then now we just provide the name of the section, which is going to be save locations dot and then the player name, because that's how we're storing it. So p.getName. So if it does exist already, that means we need to do something. So I think what I want to do, and this is what the owner of the server that wants this plugin, he said I should basically override it. So if they already have a home, then we want to override the home that's already set with a new location, basically. And then we're going to let the player know that they already have a home set. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and send the player a message telling them that they already have a home set and that we're going to override it. So let's go ahead and say something very similar to what we say when we set a home. So we'll just say chat color green, chat color dot green, green, just like that. We'll say setting a temporary home at, and then we're going to have plus chat color gray. We could just copy this, can we? The rest of it. So chat color gray, yeah, we could just copy all that. Okay, let's get this here. Jeez, that's a lot. Alright, come on buddy, there we go. So we got all of that, copy, control C, then we'll go back here and paste it. There we go. So that should work, hopefully. All it's going to do is retrieve the data from the config and then send the player this message telling them where it's overriding their home. Oh yeah, we typed the wrong thing. Hold on one second. There we go. So we're gonna say overriding their home. So overriding current home at, and then it'll say where their current home is at. And then so now we're gonna set their new home basically. So all we gotta do really is just copy this here. So p.getLocation, setting a temporary home. Yeah, all of that. We could just use all of that. Okay. If we can just copy this. It's taking forever again. Come on. There we go. So control C. Then we go back here, control V. So that should basically override it and then save it, right? We don't need to do anything. We don't have to get rid of it before we save it, because we're just resetting it over. It's like overlapping, overriding it. So yeah, we don't have to do anything extra with that. But the main thing is that we have this little warning here. It says found duplicate codes. And whenever you have duplicate code, that means that you want to make it into a method, because you never really want to repeat code. That's just pointless. So you want to structure your code into methods if you can. So we can create a method down here. Make sure it's in the class. So find this closing bracket. So we're going to make it down here. Let's call it something like public void save location. Okay, and then we're going to provide the player's name, because we have to get the location from the player, so we need to provide the player to get the location from. Then we just copy what we just pasted, or just copied up there. So we're going to put everything in here, and this is basically all it's going to do is take a player and it's going to save the location for that player. So now all we got to do is just get rid of this. So backspace, backspace. Let's get rid of all of this crap here. And then now all we got to do is do save location and then pass in P, just like that. And so now it's going to save it, and we could do the same thing for down here too. So let's get rid of all this. There we go. And so now we can do that. But as you might have noticed, this is going to execute no matter what. Even if there is a location already in the config for the player, this is still going to execute, because we did not put this into an else statement. So we need to do that. So we're going to put else, and then you save it like normal, right? But if it's not like normal, if there's already something in the config, then you're going to do all this, override it basically. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All we're doing is letting the player know if they have one already saved, and then after that we're going to resave it basically. And then if they don't have that already saved, then we're just going to save it like we normally do. So now let's try running this and see how it works. So build, and then yeah, everything's already started up, so I can go ahead and reload the server after this is done here. I'll just get the command ready. Come on, buddy, hurry up. There we go. So now it's done. So I'm going to go back here to my server, and I'm going to do /StaffHome. Come on, StaffHome set, and it says setting a temporary home at 107.996. So now let's do another one, or yeah, let's do another one. And now it says overriding current home at 107.996, and then setting a temporary home at 147.6.114. So yeah, it's successfully able to recognize that there's one already saved, and then it just overrides it basically. So it's really simple, but that's good functionality, something you might have overlooked when you make a plugin like this, but it's good to have stuff in there just like that, and just in case a player runs into something like that. Hopefully that makes sense, but let's try testing the return feature just to make sure that still works. StaffHome return, and then it says return to former location, and then we could set a new one, and there we go. So it works all perfectly. So now let's add some more stuff. So we'll go back here to our project, and what I want to do next is, let's think here, let's add the reload feature. So if they do StaffHome reload, it's going to reload the config. Alright, so we're going to do that how we've been doing it. We're just going to add another argument down here. So for the else if, so else if args.length is equal to 1 and args 0, which is going to be the first argument, equals ignore case reload. So if they type StaffHome reload, this will execute, right? So we want to first just simply, all we got to do really is reload the configuration file, right? That's what this is for. So we could do that by doing plugin.reload config. That's all we got to do. Really, really simple. And then after that, we could tell the player that it was reloaded successfully. So let's just send them a message like config reloaded successfully. So chat color gray. Here we go. Oh, come on, buddy. Gray. Oh my gosh, it's not working. There we go. So gray, and we'll say StaffHomes configuration reloaded. Okay. There we go. So that should work. And I don't know why this is pushed forward. It should not be like that. So that's about it for that. So let's just test this out real quick. So build. Oops. Did not mean to click that. So build artifacts, build. Then we'll go back here. Reload. Okay. There we go. Come back here. So let's try something out. Okay, we're gonna do StaffHomes set. So we're gonna override current home at 152.6.127, setting a temporary home at blah blah blah. So what I'm gonna do now is go into the config and then find this value and then change it and then reload and see if I can override it, and it'll let me know if that was the original value. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll show you. So let's go into the plugins folder here. Go into StaffHomes tutorial config.yml. And I have it here, the data. So what I can do now is change the data if I want to. So I'm going to change this to 100 for some reason. So that's going to be the save location. So Control S to save that. Now we go back in here. So StaffHome reload, and it says StaffHomes configuration reloaded. So now let's override our location and see if the original location was actually different now. So StaffHome set, and now we can see that it says overriding a current home at 100 for the Y. So that works perfectly. It was successfully able to change the the config file. So that's pretty cool, right? That's just a simple test we can do to see if it actually works or not. So that's actually, well, actually no, there's one more thing I want to add. We want to add the admin feature. So if the admin types StaffHome and then a player's name, it takes them to that player's home, right? So let's add that feature. So if we go back here, what we want to do for that is add a else if here. So else if, and let's think about how we want to do this. Okay, so we want the player to be able to type args, StaffHome and then the player's name. So we want to check and see if there's one argument, because the one argument would be the player's name. So args.length is equal to 1. So we're going to assume that that first argument is the player's name. So we need to check and see first if that is the player's name before we move on, because they could have done some other stuff like StaffHome poop, right? They don't have to put a player name. So first, before we move on, we need to check and see if it's actually a player they provided as a argument, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So all we got to do that is first get an instance of the player that they are trying to target with the argument. So player T stands for target, is equal to bucket.getPlayer, and then args 0. So this will basically get an instance of the player from the argument that they provided, and so now we can check and see if that's a real player or not by doing if T is equal to null. So if it's equal to null, that means it's not a real player, So we can just basically make this the opposite. Put a exclamation mark in front. So this now says technically, if this is a player, then do whatever is inside of here. So if this is a player, then we want to first check and see if that player has a location saved in the config.yml. So we want to do if, and then plugin.getconfig.isConfiguration section saved locations .t.getHome, not p.getHome, t.getHome, because we're checking to see if the targeted player has a home rather than the person who executed the command, right? So else, if that person does not have a home, then we'll just do p.sendMessage, check color red for error. We'll do dark red. We'll say that player does not have a home set, okay? And if they do have a home set, then we're going to do whatever is inside of here. So first, let's get a instance of that home that was set by the player. So return location is equal to new location, and we're going to do t.getWorld, so we're going to get the world that the target is currently in, and then plugin.getConfig.getInt, we want to get the double, because it's a double we saved in the config, so we want to get the double back. So get double, save the locations, dot, t.getName, dot x. Okay, so that should get the x value. We need a plus here to concatenate it, but that should get the x value. Says cannot resolve constructor location world a double. There we go. So now we need two more, the x and the y and the z. So we'll just copy this over. So that's going to be the y, and that one's going to be the z. So let's change this one to y, and then we'll change this one to z, just like that. So that should get a location instance of the location for the player that they saved in the config.yml. So let's teleport the player to that location now that we have gotten it. So we'll do p.teleport, and we're going to teleport the person who executed the command to the saved location for the target. Okay, so let's also send the player a message before we teleport them that they were able to, or that they are teleporting them basically. So p.sendMessage, and we'll just say check color green, teleporting to temporary staff home, and then we'll just put in parentheses the player's name that we're trying to teleport to. So t.getName, and you'll see how this looks in a second when we actually run the command in game. So at location, then we're just going to copy this basically, yeah, okay, so just copy that. Oh, we actually want to make this gray too, by the way, so check color gray, pass that in so we can get the x, and then we'll get the y. I know this might be a little complicated because it's a little long, but just pause the video if you need to and go through it. But either way, I'll be demonstrating this in a second. So plus z, so this will get the z value. Okay, so that should get the x, y, and the z, and then print it back to the player. So that looks like that might be it for that. So let's try testing this out to see if it works. Okay, so build artifacts, build, then we'll go back here and reload. Okay, so now let's test it out. So we'll do StaffHome set rise power 90. Oh wait, no, that's not the command, derp. So StaffHome set overriding current home at 154.6.117, setting a temporary home. Okay, so we already had one set, obviously, so it's going to override it. So now let's return to it. StaffHome return. We're just going to make sure the regular commands work still. So StaffHome return. So now let's set a new home, and then pretend that we're an admin, and then we're going to teleport to the home. Okay, so we'll do StaffHome and then my name. So StaffHome rise power 90, and then it says temporary teleporting to a temporary staff home rise power 90 at, and then it has all the different locations for the player. So we need to round these numbers to whole numbers, by the way, I forgot to do that. So let's do that real quick. Let's see here, so we can just grab this here. So math.round, plug that in, and then math.round that one, and then finally for the z value, math.round, that one. Okay, so that should round all the values and then tell the player those values. So that we know it works overall though. That's pretty easy. Let's tab this forward here. So let's think about what we want to do next. We pretty much added everything we want to add, I think, you know, for the main. Well, actually, let's add one more thing. So let's say they don't provide an argument, they just do slash StaffHomes by itself. Let's provide the list of all the different commands that they can use, basically. So if we go down here, we could do else. So else will be if they don't provide any of the, if they don't satisfy any of the argument conditions here. So else, I'm just gonna copy this because this will take forever to type out. So I've already made this before I recorded the episode, but here we go. So this will basically send the player a message telling them all the different commands they could use to use the plugin. So we're just going to run this and I'll show you how it works. Very, very simple. Okay. Reload, and then I'll test it out. So we'll do slash StaffHome ricepower 90, and as you can see, wait, what? It didn't work. Did I do the right thing? Because it didn't round the numbers apparently. Let's see. Oh, we rounded the wrong ones. We rounded the ones for the location object. We didn't round it for here, up here. That's a bummer. So let's just fix all this. I'll go back. Okay. I think that's it. No, one more. Alright, so now we'll just round these. I'll round all these numbers and I'll set the thing and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, so I added everything, so it should work now. So if we rebuild this here, we're going to go back and reload for the millionth time. There we go. So let's test it out now. So StaffHome ricepower 90. Teleporting to a temporary StaffHome ricepower 90 at 89:10:10. So that works perfectly, it looks like. So that should be good. It says 10:10 though. Shouldn't it be something else? Like, hold on. X, Y, Z. X, Y. Okay, so the last one is a Y for some reason, but there we go, I fixed that. But now let's test the bottom thing that I added, where if there's no arguments, it's going to send the player all these messages here. So let me show you how that looks. So we'll do slash StaffHome, and then now you can see it says StaffHomes by Illuminati, StaffHome set, StaffHome return, StaffHome name, and then StaffHome reload, which explains how to use the plugin basically. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully you like that. So let's add a couple more things. So what I want to add now to the plugin is going to be permissions, and then a configuration for the messages for the plugin. And all of that's pretty tedious, but let's just jump right into it and get the plugin finished, okay? So we'll go back here now, and let's start adding some configuration options. So let's go back here to the config, and let's go down here, okay? And we're gonna do, let's leave a comment here, so messages. You can leave a comment with the hashtag. And then we'll do set message. So this is the message that is sent whenever a person sets a new home. So setting a temporary home at and 7. And the and 7 is there because anything after that is going to be the coordinates. So we want the coordinates to be gray like we always do. So we're just going to say end color code for coords color. Okay, and then we'll have some more for the override message. We're going to say at and a overriding current home at and 7. Okay, overriding home. Yeah, there we go. Looks good. So return message. So whenever they return to their home, and a returned to former location. And then finally, the last one, the reload message. So and 7 StaffHomes configuration reloaded. Okay, so now what we need to do is access these messages and then basically, yeah, put them in here. You know what I mean? So we just need to, let's find the set one first. Let's do it in order. So whenever a player sets a message, we want to go down here and change the set message. So the set message is right here, obviously. So we'll do, let's get rid of this. So we'll do plugin dot get config dot, come on man, get string, because we stored a string here. These are string values. So get string, but we want to translate the color codes. So we need to do chat color dot translate alternate color codes, use single quotes for the and thing here because it's a character, so you have to use single quotes. Then now you pass in the string that we want to convert. So get string set dash message, okay, dash message. So that should set everything for us. I know that's an extremely long piece of code here, but that's basically going to translate the color codes and then put the message that we set in the config into here basically. So that should work. And then now let's go up here and we're going to set the override message. So the override message is right here. So let's get rid of that. So chat color dot translate alternate color codes, and so plugin dot get config dot get string override message. Okay, that should also work. Let's make sure. Yep. Okay, and then I'll do the return message. So let's find that. So return send message return to former location. So we'll do it right here. So translate alternate color codes and plugin.getConfig.getString return message. Okay, and then the last one finally for reload right here. So we're gonna do, yeah, okay, that's good. So we're gonna do translate alternate color codes and or wait, what did I say? And just and then plugin.getConfig.getString reload message. Okay, so that should add all the messages for us. And yeah, let's see if all that works. So build artifacts, build reload. Sorry if you're in my chair, I'm not farting, I promise. Okay, so let's test it out. So staff home, that still works. Let's do staff home set now. It says overriding current home, setting a temporary home. So yeah, it all pretty much works. Let's do return. Yeah, it all works. Okay, so y'all get the point. That's how we do that. And so the last thing we need to do is the permissions, right? Because a good plugin needs permissions to go along with it, so the server owner could allow certain players to do certain things. Anyway, so we'll go back here to our plugin, and we're going to set first the permissions for the set command. So the first permission we actually want to set is going to be a permission that is checking to see whether they can even execute the StaffHomes command. So if p.hasPermission StaffHomes.use, so and then now we just need to copy this whole block of code, and yeah, so we'll just copy that, and then we could do that in here, and then else p.send message chat color dot dark red, you don't have permission to use this command. So just to be clear, this permission here is going to allow the player to use the most basic commands: set, return, and yeah, just set and return. So we also want to go down here to reload and then check and see if they have the reload permission so they can use reload, because reload is a even more advanced command, so we want to add permission for that before we actually let the player use it, of course. So we could do right here, if p.has permission, not that, p.has permission, there we go, StaffHomes reload, and we just what the heck, we'll just cut this code into here, cut, paste, and then we'll grab the else just so I could get that, and we'll put it right there. Okay, so if they do not have permission, then it's going to tell them they don't have permission, right? But if they do, it's going to allow them to reload the server. Pretty cool, right? Easy. And so the last permission that I want to add is going to be the admin permission, so they could teleport to a player's temporary home. So we could add that right here, right in the beginning. Is that the right spot? Yep, I think it is. So if p.has permission StaffHomes admin, okay, boom, and then we'll just copy this. Where is it? Else. Okay, there it is. Alright, so cool. That's all the permissions that we should be able to use. I'm not going to test those out. They pretty much work. You know, it's really simple to do permissions, and plus I don't want to, I'm too lazy basically, okay? So yeah, that's about it for the command, for the plugin. If there's any more you think I should add, then leave a comment below or join the Discord server and let me know in the suggestion channel what you think I should add. I think that's it. I think that's all we should add to the plugin, but yeah, like I said, if there's any more, just let me know. And hopefully you like this little two-part series. I worked hard on this plugin So yeah, leave a like if you liked it. If you want to see any other plugins made, then just go into the suggestions channel in the Discord server, and again, leave a suggestion there for what you want to see. And yeah, so all the code for this episode is going to be in the description below, so make sure you check it out. There's a repository where you can check out all of the code for the plugin, okay? And then if you want to support this channel, you can join the channel as a member by clicking the join button below this video, and then you could donate a certain amount of money per month, 99 cents, $5, $10, whatever you want to do. Either way, that would really support me and the channel, so thank you very much if you want to. If not, that's okay, I still love you. And that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and peace.